Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So this is the first episode of season 2 of In Alignment with Dr. Sean, and I am really excited that we are that I'm starting up again. And I had a bunch of like topics that I've been kicking around. Like I did like almost 30 lives last month on Instagram and Facebook and around the interwebs, and the uh, the funny thing is the that the one that I wanted to do today was one that was presented to me today by my front desk person Danielle. She said to me, "Happy Beltane." I was like, "Huh, what the heck does that mean?" And I was kind of like, I was waiting for like some kind of Gen XYZ millennial whatever answer. And she's like, no, it's the festival. It's the marking point between, um, spring equinox and the summer solstice. So it's like halfway between. And it actually, so I was like, really? I was like, huh. So I wondered what the significance of all that was. And it turns out it's kind of a big deal for Gaelic Ireland, a couple, maybe 1,000 years ago. But Beltane was the festival of fire, and fire is really what it's all about. So big bonfires were set up. All of the houses fires went out. The bonfire was set up, and they had a big festival every year to celebrate moving into summer out of spring. Um, and it was also done to keep the fairies away. So they had to keep the fairies away from apparently the dairy products. The fairies were big at ruining dairy products. So that was an issue. And the they also kept the fairies from causing trouble with their crops and all kinds of things like that. So I was really intrigued because I had never heard of Beltane. I grew up with my mother is Irish, hence the Sean. The Shapiro is not Irish, believe it or not. And the the my grandmother was all Irish. She was just crazy Irish, and her last name was Sheridan. And I had never heard of Beltane before. And you know why? I think is because it had nothing to do with Catholicism, and it had everything to do with the pagan rituals, some god that they worshipped at that time called Beal. But again, it was to keep part of it was to keep the fairies away and to keep, so they build this big bonfire. They cook some, pigs or cows. This would also be the bonfire would be the signatory of moving all the cows out to summer pasture. And they would actually have events where they would try to get the cows to jump over the bonfire. Where the hell was YouTube then, right? So there was a lot going on, and everybody would put their fires out in their house, and they would light something from the bonfire, and they would take it back to their house and relight the fires. Charcoal from the fires was put under butter churns to keep those damn fairies away. I can't make this up. And the ashes were spread over all their crops, all of their livestock, over themselves, sort of like a pagan Ash Wednesday type of thing, except for on a grander scale where everybody got a little ash. This looks a little. Look at, I know I'm probably going to screw this up. There we go. So why is this important to me? Why is this so exciting to me? Well, first off, I love a bonfire. There's no doubt about it. I love everything about like fire pits and being outside and maybe having a whiskey or two by a fire pit, right? And that's great. But the whole idea of coming out of mud season in New England, which is what I'm trying desperately to get out of, although the rain doesn't seem to want to remit all that much for us. The whole idea about getting out of mud season is one of real frustration for people. A lot of people are stuck, and this time of year, I can see being a great time to sort of man up and light a bonfire and symbolize things. See, I think that life for the pagans in Gaelic Ireland was probably a little easier. It was probably a little easier for them, even though they had horrible things like famine and well, they didn't have much famine until later, but like just pestilence and illnesses because of the conditions that they lived in and stuff like that. But they didn't have as many messages, right? There weren't a million messages delivered to them like a week. Every week we get, I don't know, I've heard it's like 100,000, anywhere from 50 to 100,000 different messages from the media, from people we know, from the fact that we are more mobile, we can go other places, the billboards that surround us, all these things that we take into our heads, and we are unable to sort through what's important anymore. A lot of us are, and sometimes I am, what's important anymore, because we get stuck in all the messages that everybody wants us to hear. And most of those messages are around, buying a product, being a certain way, feeling a certain way about yourself because you own a material thing, because you take a certain pill, whether it be the white pill, the blue pill, the purple pill, whatever it is. Okay. There's a lot of prestige built around those products and those messages. And if we don't fall in line with those messages, there's a lot of people around us that get sort of angry with us. And it can be as simple as, it can be as simple as like, I believe in vaccines, you don't believe in vaccines, I believe in science, you don't believe in science. Neither one of those things is true, right? As far as the other person's opinions about things. Okay. But it's there. I guess that's not a simple one. It's a really dangerous one. My only point in all of this is that this is a good time when you're frustrated with the way that the environment outside is sort of presenting itself, whether it be lots of rain, not as warm as you want, lots of mud, can't play golf, can't do this, can't do that, lots of stuff you can't do that you want to do because there are moments like this where the sun is shining. You see it blasting in through that window there. The sun is shining and you want to be out there. And my hope in me talking about Beltane and lighting a bonfire is that fire is a purifier. Fire can get rid of a lot of extra wood on your lot. It can get rid of a lot of branches. It can get rid of a lot of leaves. You can do a lot. You can clean up a lot with fire. Now, we don't do that anymore because supposedly it's bad. Although I'm trying to figure out like how forest fires used to happen before humans were here, right? And we just concentrate the burn off instead of just letting the entire forest burn down. We clean it out and then we burn it all away from the forest. I'm not sure how that's any different than raging forest fires, go. So somebody can maybe explain that to me sometime. But ultimately, fire is a purifier. It cleans a lot of stuff out. It can be very destructive, not used the right way, not paid attention to the right way, not taking safety into account. Fire can be deadly. Fire can be a bad thing, but it also can be a good thing. And we had those fires on this planet for a reason. Now that seems probably crazy, and it's going to set a lot of people, it's going to trigger a lot of people going, I don't think it's great to have fire. I don't want my house to burn down, and I don't want your house to burn down either. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is before we made an impression on the planet, fires happened anyway, and they happened for a reason. They didn't just happen randomly. They happened because there were conditions in that area that allowed it, whether it be a lightning strike, because the earth was dispelling energy through storms, right? And that lightning strike struck something. It burned down a tree, and that tree lit up the whole forest. These things happened, in my opinion, for a reason. And it's the same thing with your body. There are seasons in your body that don't feel great. There are moments where you want to burn everything down. Like you wake up and you feel like crap and you just want everything to burn because you don't want to feel like that anymore. I get it. Hopefully you don't do that. I'm not suggesting you do. What I'm saying is maybe it's time to take stock of your wooded area. If you have some woods near your house or something like that, you can know what I'm talking about. If you don't have any woods near your house, woods is full of like all kinds of broken branches and fallen trees and leaves and stuff like that. And what if you just collected them all one place safely, right? And just burned it. And in your body, what if you just took stock of everything that's wrong with you and start looking for solutions to put that particular fire out? There's already a fire raging inside of most of us, this inflammatory fire. I had this conversation with somebody today, and he thought he was doing a really good job. I don't know if you can hear it. They're walking above me on the roof. There's a big lake there. We have leaks all over from the rain yesterday. The point that I was getting to is that a lot of us are on fire in our blood, in our interstitial tissues, in our cells, okay, already. And, we're not paying attention to that. It's called the flame. And it was a big deal. It started to be a big deal before COVID. And it just got forgotten right there. But a lot of the people with lifestyle diseases that were at higher risk were part of this flame crowd, right? They had this internal flame of inflammation, okay, global inflammation in their body. Almost everybody has it because of the amount of omega-6 fatty acids in our diet. And I never saw one news report or I don't know, news report or internet story from a major source that ever talked about getting your inflammatory response under control. And we do that here for people. We help them sort of sort through that because we can order a test for them that they do at home that most medical doctors won't order for some reason. They weren't told what it was. Doesn't seem important enough for them or something like that. Most people are still running CBCs with really, really undetailed inflammatory markers measured as well. And you can take this test, do a finger prick at home, and we can tell you how much your omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids are ratioed out. Now, it should be 1-to-1. Haven't met anybody like that. Usually, the people that we've tested, they're in the, I don't know, probably say 40-to-1 range. Those are the most, well, we had somebody who was 300-to-1 once, but they're pretty extreme, right? They're pretty darn extreme differences. And if you don't have that ratio balanced out, you can't turn off inflammation. You don't have enough omega-3s to turn off the cascade of omega-6 inflammation that's happening. So he was talking, this person I was talking to today, I was telling him about this, and he's like, well, I eat fish. I was like, do you eat farm-raised salmon? He goes, yes. Like he was proud of it. And I was like, sorry. It's not, farm-raised salmon is fed corn. Corn is all omega-6 fatty acids. And it's an omega, it's a complex fatty acid, but it's not something that's going to help you turn off the inflammatory response. And this is somebody who had, he'd given up a lot of the bad lifestyle stuff, the drinking, the eating badly, all that stuff, and he still wasn't getting the results he wanted. And this is why we had the conversation. So we gave him a test. We're going to wait for those results. And I told him, we already know you have the problem, so you might as well just start right away with the fatty acid. We'll get the results back when we get them, as soon as you mail them out, and then they email them back to me. But yeah. So how does that relate to what I was talking about with Beltane, right? Beltane being this Gaelic Irish holiday or festival or marking point, whatever you want to call it. Well, I think it's really important that you do something symbolic to show that you're ready for change. And I think that with all these messages that we get, we find it hard to believe that one thing that we do can plant a flag on the ground announcing a new type of change in our outlook towards our future. And that's what the bonfires of Beltane did. Yeah, they warded off fairies, and we don't know if those really existed then or not. I've never met a fairy, but they believed in them. They put the charcoal under the butter churn. Under the butter churn, they put the burn part, the charcoal around the house to keep the fairies out, keep them away from the good dairy stuff, right? They believed in them. And maybe if we stop laughing at what the ancients did, and we started looking at what that might mean to us, if we can identify things that, like, so the charcoal, okay, is a detoxifier. And that kind of detoxifier around your dairy could pick up a virus or a bacteria and sort of suck it in, keep it from damaging what's in your butter churn or your cheese, whatever you make cheese. I don't even know. Does anybody know how to make cheese? Because that would be that'd be a lot of fun to make some cheese. I've been making butter at home, and I've been making bread for my kids when they come over to eat and stuff like that. Just so it's something that they get that doesn't have a lot of additives in it, or even just some additives. It's all just natural and stuff like that. I digress. My point is that you and I, we need to start planting some flags on the ground, stating our intention for the future. And while it might not be possible for you to have a bonfire where you live, I know I can't have them where I live now, okay? Because of, you live in an apartment, or you live in, an area where bonfires are allowed. Even though we can't do that, we can do something symbolically to sort of celebrate this moment where we move from mud season, okay, into a drier, warmer season where life is a little easier, a little cleaner, and a little more fun. So I'm lighting my bonfire inside of me, and I'm saying it's time to celebrate this movement from the mud to the summer. And I hope, and if you're not from New England and you don't know what mud season is, I apologize. Mud season, listen, spring is just all about melting off the snow. And then when the snow melts, you have mud outside, and you can't play golf in it. You can't ride your bike in it too great. There's a lot of, unless you like mudding, muddy bike rides, which I don't. It's not great. So it's just one big tease. We have these days where we have beautiful weather, like the best weather in the world for just that day, and then mud. Just mud. So that's all I've got today, is that it's time to start putting your flag in the ground and burn something off. Burn off, like I've been peeling back. Like I gave up coffee, I gave up sugar, I gave up about to give up bread. My youngest daughter wants to go gluten-free. So we're about to give up bread for a while. And all those things are just things that I'm letting go of, that I'm burning off of my bad list of all the detritus and dead stuff I have hanging around the woods. Okay. So that I can make this a better life for me, with less inflammation, less infirmity, less sickness, and more alignment with the things that I want. I am Sean Shapiro. I'm a doctor of chiropractic from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I own Port City Chiropractic. And I do this podcast so that people get a feel for who I am and what I'm about. So that if you're looking for a chiropractor and you're looking for a crazy one, you might think about using my services. We have 2 chiropractors here. We have a great staff, and we have the most beautiful chiropractic clinic on the planet. So I invite you to come by and take a look. Until then, I hope you and I that we get into alignment. Everybody have a good day.